Because feminine people are not what? Reliable? Because a masculine.
Feminine men.
Oh, no.
You didn't say that. You said real men are.
Let me mute these people. Let's start again. Let me clear exactly what I said, and I'm going to say it one more time.
Don't mute me.
I can mute you. It's my live, and I'll do what I want to do. If y'all are interrupting me, I'm going to interrupt y'all back since you guys are not showing me the same amount of.
Childish.
Then you'll. Look, Maya, if you don't
let you talk, I've been defending you this whole time.
I don't need you to defend me. I'm a grown woman. I don't need to be
okay, well, you're not doing a good job.
By you. Let's
And
just be
Maya, I don't know if you've been
here.
to Christie's lives. I'm generally the one that defends her if I need to.
Yeah, but I don't need to defend Tony.
Not another man defending you.
No, go ahead. No, please
Call
let
me
her speak.
weird for doing what nature intended men to do. You know,
Ouch.
it's kind of
Ouch,
weird.
that's really, really gross.
Let me go back and say what I said before.
Yes, please let her finish.
Nobody
You guys are
said.
going to be crazy cat ladies when you grow up.
I'm married.
Nobody said femininity is failure. Let's be clear. That's not what I said. You're telling me that feminine women and feminine men. No, I'm talking about this topic right here. We don't want feminine males.
No, that's you. You don't want feminine males.
You don't. Yes,
the majority
exactly.
don't. The majority of women don't.
I can promise you that that's not true. And
Okay, so if you-
I'd
go
like
ahead,
to
Ryan,
know
sorry.
what your definition of feminine is. What's your definition of feminine? Please let me know.
Tony, go ahead. Tony.
Okay,
I'm not
so
gonna
fe-
your
so
live.
feminine-
Yourself.
I'll explain.
It's
so
your
fe-
live. Speak for
Great.
yourself.
So
My
don't
live, and I
worry.
can
Okay,
just
so
speak.
to answer the first
Unfortunately, you
question,
need a man to speak for you.
to answer the first
sad.
question, Caitlin said, the reason women don't truly want feminine men is for the same reason men don't truly want a woman who freaking spreads her legs to everyone. It's a sign of mental instability. A feminine man is a sign of mental instability in a man. We each have our signs, both man and woman, of what shows we are unstable and weak. For a woman, it's someone who's got to spread her legs and do her body whatever she wants, quote unquote, like you said. That's the problem with doing whatever you want with your body anytime and sharing and spreading yourself. It shows an unstable woman. And likewise, a feminine man shows an unstable man, someone who's not reliable.
That is silly.
really
Okay,
is.
so I actually have a few quick questions for you. I mean, since apparently she can't speak for herself, I'll ask you. When it comes,
All right, let's just move on. I'm not going to be disrespected on my own live.
But you asked to discuss, but then you exited boss.
Freedom vibe. Go ahead.
Right.
They like feminine men because feminine men allow them to push them over, steamroll them, have OnlyFans accounts, and all this bullshit. Because a real man will not allow that shit to happen. Have a good day. I gotta go fix my kid breakfast.
Oh my God, there's so many people requesting. I can't even. I have 60 people in the request.
Oh,
my
they're
God.
angry.
I gotta start.
They're
Let me
angry.
start.
You angered the ladies who are probably the young girls who are probably realizing they're going to grow up old with cats and no one to love them and no children.
I'm trying to get people that look like they disagree with me, and it looks like there's.
If they got colored hair like neon blue or red hair, that's a good sign that they're crazy.
Hold on.
I feel like that's just advertisement. Everybody's like, it's so cool for me to dye my hair, and it's like, no, that's a warning sign. Stay the hell away from this person. They're crazy.
Oh, this person looks.
My thing is, it's just masculinity and femininity is like a spectrum to where like, see, like my boyfriend, he can go and get his nails done or he can have makeup on, but that doesn't affect the way he helps around the house or helps on cars or does handiwork. None of that really affects the masculine thing of a man. Like they can do most of what they're supposed to do with that kind of stuff on, you know what I mean? It's the same as like a woman can do their job with longer nails most of the time, so can they. I just don't see why that's what makes you go, oh yeah, they're not masculine.
Well, I wouldn't consider getting their nails painted and makeup a masculine. Does this look like a masculine man to you in this position, just like this?
Well, no, but they don't have to look masculine to be masculine.
Right, but that's not. But that's not what I asked you. Just look at this gentleman right here. Does this gentleman right here look like a masculine man?
No, he
It's a
does
yes or no
not.
question, and it's not a trick question. It's a yes or no.
Yeah, and I said, no, he does not.
Yeah, but that's it. And majority of women don't really want men that are doing that.
But the thing is, you are a singular woman. You know what I mean?
Well, I just said polls, and the poll showed the same thing I'm saying.
But your polls are directed towards your audience, not a majority.
Miss Christie,
Oh yeah. Hi.
ma'am, there's a world that like we have a world society, right? And we can pretend like the world doesn't have things that it wants and things that it desires, right? But having been around the world, I'm a United States Marine, right? I can't imagine my voice raising 7 or 8 or 9 freaking octaves and then trying to command other Marines, right? It just doesn't sound right. I'm never gonna apologize for what it is that I am, right? I'm a tough, rugged man, right? And people, when they look at a tough, rugged man, They are going to see someone who's able to deal with adversity, somebody who's in a situation. They say, you know what? This is the guy. This is the guy that's going to bring us from where the fuck we are to the other side of this thing. And we can follow this person. And this is going to be the one that's going to be the leader. And we pick them, right? We sometimes do it arbitrarily, and sometimes we make mistakes with that. But the fact is, the overwhelming amount, it's not going to be the guy that has the nails and the makeup and the contouring lines in his face. And while I don't agree with a lot of my fellow conservatives on some things, this is not something that is negotiable. I'm not going to follow somebody like this into combat. We are not going to defend our nation with this dude, right? It's just as much a mental thing as it deals with physicality. So we're never going to do that. And I'm not going to apologize for being what it is that I am, or my voice sounding like it is, or my stature, or the way I walk, or the way I present when I'm around other men. It's disingenuous to say that we are the same when we influence our society. We are not.
Would you agree? I just want to ask you one more question, and then we can go back to the people that don't agree. Would you agree or disagree? I don't want to coerce you into answering either way, but do you think that masculinity in society is demonized right now?
Yes.
Do you think it's demonized? Do you think that people are calling men toxic because they're assertive, or they're dominant, or they're a go-getter? Because I see it all the time. I see it daily that women are sitting here saying that you're toxic masculinity, toxic this, toxic that. But a lot of these men, we know that there's bad men, right? We know that there's bad women too. And I notice that bad women get a pass in society more than bad men. Why is that?
When it all boils down to it, I think that people, there's been a skew, right? Instead of like our strength is not necessarily what we needed, 20,000 years ago in order, to wrestle bears or to take down mammoths or whatever the hell it is that we needed to do in order to make sure that our families were fed and protected, right? So it's not a thing anymore. So people are using the fact that we no longer have to wrestle fucking bears to say that the manliness and the masculinity that we have is no longer warranted or needed. Technology fails. A solar flare hits this fucking planet. And this is a real thing. Right? A solar flare hits this planet and technology is no longer viable. We are going to have to go back to exactly what we were 20,000 years ago. And we're going to have to exude those same traits that people are calling toxic. And I don't think that women who are physically 5 times, you have 5 times less the mass and the strength, you're not going to be able to do the same things. You can perform in this society, in this first world country. Outside of that, like the equality has like gone to people's heads, man. I think we're intellectually equal. But the fact is we are not physically equal, and we have to recognize that if technology fails, we're going to have to go back to what we were.
I agree. Let's ask Pepto. What's up, Pepto? I appreciate your pushing up, your push-ups.
Yeah, I saw you mentioned the fact that I was like the people with like red and blue dyed hair, and I was like, oh, this is my cue.
Oh, well, Tony said that.
Oh. Yeah, that took the breath out of me. So.
Yes, I sure did. And I stand by it. Generally, red or multi-dyed hair is a sign of mental instability because all the crazy people got that kind of hair. So this isn't to say you can't be a strong crazy person, but yeah, I stand by it. I stand by it though. You can still be crazy.
Fair point.
Well, Pepto, do you have anything you want to add, or you just came here to show me that people with red hair can do push-ups?
No, I was gonna say I'm gay. I don't care. You don't want feminine men? More for me.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, twinks, trans femmes, trans masks hit my line.
Okay, that's it. All right. Well,
so we came up here to advertise, right? Not even really listen to that. See, to me, that is a sign of mental. I think he's proven my point with mental instability. And he come up here to have a conversation. He came up here to
try to put his.
He tried to come up here to find somebody who can pound his fudge. That's what he came up here for.
Well, I think he just was saying that he's single and he wants a date.
Well, no, it's because you got 1,700 viewers and he came up here to try to shoot his shot and get somebody to pound his fudge, Christie.
Hold on, let me just take a pause really quick. Guys, controversial live. Let's try to get it to 60K. And if you're not following me right next to it, don't be lazy. Just hit the follow. It's right here. Also, what's really exciting is I have a Discord in my bio. And if y'all want to have debates about this, we can have little private debates in the arena in my Discord. Only thing I would advise is don't say anything.
You can tell I'm not like your feminine female, but I completely, but just a quick background. I've done construction, welding, all that kind of stuff, roofing. But I'm still the type of woman that when I go home, I want to be able to put that down and have somebody masculine to take care of me. Because honestly, by the end of the day, I'm tired. I can do those jobs. I can excel at those jobs. And I absolutely love those jobs and my coworkers. But at the end of the day, mom wants to come home and just be a mom.
That's actually a really good point, because you kind of flipped it and you took you're saying that you're like more masculine and you want to still be loved and nurtured by somebody who's a masculine man. Would you agree or disagree that I don't know. Are you married?
I actually, no, I'm not. And
Here's
that's
what I'm going to say to that. Strong women need stronger men.
yeah, and luck in the today's world. Good
I
luck
know. Did you see that dude came up here who's looking for somebody to pack his fudge? You know, even if you find them, they're going to be gay or something, right? So it's
he was so out of breath from trying to prove all of us that he couldn't even have a conversation.
Wait, hold on, Jen. Jen, you know what's nice? When I go home to my husband, I'm just able to take my brain and empty it. And
Yes.
I always say this to people. Him and I travel the world. We travel globally. I don't know how I'm getting there, where I'm going, what time I'm going to be there. He has everything planned. You know why? Because I trust him and his safety for me to get to where I have to go. I'm able to go, you know what? I'll be there. I'm going to pack and just tell me where we're going to go because I know that he makes me feel safe.
somebody's got a lot of background noise. Somebody's rubbing on something. What is that?
And protected and secure.
Right.
I mean, I went to a wedding really quick. I'll give a 20-second anecdotal. We went to a wedding in Italy in 2019. I said I always wanted to go see the pyramids. I want to see the pyramids. I've been saying it forever. What did he do? We planned my trip. We went from Italy. We went to Egypt. We went to London. I had no clue what time the flights were. All I knew was that we got there and he got me home and I was safe, secure, and happy. And that's what masculine, responsible men offer women. And on top of that, women that get masculine, responsible men fall into their level of femininity because they feel protected. And that's all I'm saying.
You're safe. We feel safe.
Protected.
Let
Absolutely.
that guard down. Yeah.
Right. I'm not saying that, right, because we all have a dash of the other, right? Both men and women all have the exact same hormones. It's just that women tend to have predominantly oxytocin, vasopressin, and estrogen, and men tend to be more predominantly testosterone driven. And, it's not to say that we don't have a dash of everything in there, but that's what our primary inclination is naturally. And so I'm just saying that the reason I think it's not good is because it shows somebody, like when we see too masculine of a woman or we see too feminine of a man, we see somebody who's out of alignment with their natural being. And this isn't to say that, yes, you're not going to have some people that or some men that are a little bit more feminine, some women that are a little bit more masculine. This isn't to say that. It's just that I think this is why we tend to view it just as better to be more aligned with what your natural inclinations are. And I think that is our natural inclinations, to be those things. And when we come together as man and woman, we balance each other out. That is the exchange between male, female. That's why husbands say, whenever there's a matter dealing with the heart, they say, let me go ask my better half, because we know our wife, our woman, that's the heart right there. That's the emotions. This is a matter of the heart. Let me consult my better half. Right. That's why husbands say stuff like that.
The guy that was just on here, man, he made a drastic error, right? And he made the error of saying that gay men are feminine, right? Gay men don't have to be feminine at all, right? There is no requirement for any gay man whatsoever to ever be feminine in any capacity, right? Who you want to be with, who you love, has nothing to do with how you interact with the remainder of society. I've seen lots of gay men who were playing football, who were working construction, right? They didn't have to have, there was nothing different about their voice, like nothing, right? They were big, strong men who just happened to love other men. There's nothing saying that you have to be, that was nonsense what he was saying. The men are men. If you want to be a strong man and a leader in our society, then you need to be a leader in our society.
Jen, I muted you because we had a little bit of background noise. Jen, you're muted. I just want to be clear. I just muted you because you had a little background noise. Can we get OG up in here and see what she has to say? Thanks, Jen. You can chill up here if you want. You want to drop and come re-request. I have like 1,000 people in the queue. Go ahead, Heavens.
Good morning. No, I just wanted to come in and let you know I'd rather have a masculine man than a sissy lala.
You rather have a masculine man?
Yeah.
Girl, same.
Because, I mean, I want to know, like, at night when I lay my head down that if anybody, tries to break in, that he's going to take care of it.
Well, that's the other thing. A lot of times women will say if somebody knocks. So, okay, let's ask the women in the comments. And now I have a lot of hate watchers here, so they might be skewed. But we're going to ask anyway. Women in the comments, if you're here, type here. We're gonna do it really easy, and then I'm gonna just get everybody that's opposition up here. I'm gonna keep like 1 or 2. I'm gonna keep probably Tony and Manimal, and I'll bring up and maybe Queen, and then I'll bring up 4 or 5 people. Women in the comments, if somebody tries to break in your house and your husband is laying in bed with you, right? Your husband's laying in. You know what, Tony? You word the comment. You word this for me because I know exactly. I know you know exactly.
Okay, so if somebody breaks into your house or whatnot, do you want your man to be able to bash his head in and stop him in his tracks, or do you want your husband to be able to paint his nails?
Well,
like, which do you want?
It's simple. Do you want your husband to get up and answer the door, or do you want to get up and answer the door for yourself as a woman? Husband or wife? Who's getting the door? We'll do it that way. Husband or wife?
Husband.
Husband. Yep, the husband's. That's his job.
Heaven, do you have anything else you want to add? Because I'm gonna cycle you. Get some other people. There's 30 people in the queue.
No.
Myself,
Okay,
man.
thanks, Heaven.
You're welcome.
Before I go, ma'am, there are people saying that there's both, right? A man doesn't want a woman coming downstairs with him in the middle of the night. We don't want you there, right? We just don't, right? So if we have to protect our family and we have to accost someone who kicks in the fucking door, I don't need like if he gets a hold of you, then that's a weakness for me, right? That's something that's going to break me, right? I'm going to have to bend to his will so I can make sure that I keep you safe. So like if you're saying that you want your lady to come downstairs with you, it's a weakness and it's something that's going to be a detractor and it's going to cause you to have to back down if something really bad happens. So no, don't have both people come down. We're not equal, and I'm just as dangerous in my bathrobe as I am if I have a pew-pew in my hand. So walk that off. So I'll see y'all later, man. Y'all be good.
Bye, Keith. Thanks.
See you, Keith. Semper Fi. Rah.
Hey, Christie.
I know Keith. We're both Marines, so every time we see each other.
Zara, you're not connecting. I'm going to disconnect you. Can you re-request? Who wants to talk? Queen?
Yeah, can I just say something? It's really funny how all these women in the comments are getting triggered because they have this either or mentality. Okay. Nobody says that if you have a masculine man, he's not going to be loving. Nobody says that if you have a masculine man, he's not going to be caring. Nobody says that if you have a masculine man, he's not going to be that type that's going to be in the shower with you, scrubbing your back, helping you wash your hair. That's not the definition. Like this idea that you have that masculine men don't do these things is not it's not what we're saying.
Wait, Chelsea, she's talking. Hang on one second and then you can go right after her, Chelsea. Go ahead, Queen.
All these women that are sitting there saying, oh, I want him to paint my nails. I want him to do all of it. But don't make me cuss you out, okay? Because at the end of the day, I want my man to give me the money so I can go get my spa day done. And when I come home, he has the ability and the masculinity to bend me over backwards and do what he needs to do with me.
And you have the power to make him a sandwich, right?
That's it. And then when we're done, guess what?
You make him a sandwich.
I'm going to be so happy. I would happily submit to my man.
And make him a sandwich. Damn right.
What do you need? Pancakes and eggs? What do you need? A roast?
Bless your heart.
Wait, hold on. Let Chelsea jump in.
Bless your heart.
No, that's my son. I have a child, and he talks over everything. I was.
Jen, I'm gonna cycle you out, Jen. Come back in the comments, and I'll bring you in the queue, and I'll bring you back up, and we'll send you some more gifts. Okay, guys, if you want to throw Jen a few more gifts before she leaves.
And let me just tell you something. I make 6 figures. And if my man wants me to make him a sandwich after he's given me 2 hours of the best day of my life, I will happily do that plus more. Yes, I will still make you a damn sandwich. Yes, I will still
bless your heart.
Iron your underwear.
Bless your heart.
You need me to
Bless
iron your socks? I will iron your socks. Because at the end of the day, you are giving me everything that I need in this world to not only financially survive, but mentally thrive.
You heard it here, fellows. If you want a sandwich,
your nails, go do that with your girlfriend while he's at work providing for you.
You heard it here, folks. If you want a sandwich, you got to make that kitten purr.
Okay, Miss Charles, go ahead.
I would be so curious, and I would go downstairs and see who was at the door because my craziest. I would think like there's more power in numbers, to where like if anything happens, like I'll go like make believe ninja on somebody. Just, I don't know.
Well, do you want to know why men are better suited for something like this?
Well, see, but sometimes men are better suited, but then some of them, they're dumb and lazy, and they don't want to take care of anything. They don't know any better. They're just mama's thing.
We call them male feminists. That's what we call them. Yes, they definitely are. They're terrible. They're a plague on society. Usually they're simps. But the reason men in general are naturally suited for this is because men have a larger frontal lobe in our brain. This doesn't remark on intelligence, right? This isn't to say one is smarter than the other, but men's frontal lobe, it's like a processor. We have a larger processor. And because we have a larger processor, it enables us to evaluate information quicker on the spot. And psychologists believe that this is because we've had to develop this evolutionary, meaning we've been in danger.
Are you talking about like caveman status?
Well, what I'm saying is just throughout history, men have always done dangerous things. And so dangerous things happen like that. And then
you live and learn, just like women do.
We need the larger processor, basically the frontal lobe, to process our options. Should I run or should I fight? What is my best option here?
Fight or fight.
Well, women are more likely to fly. But men are more likely, so women have quicker reflexes, and it's because their frontal lobe is not as large, right? A man's more likely going to take a couple of split seconds more to evaluate his options and decide, is my best option to club this dude over the head right now? Can I reach to it fast enough before he raises his arm and shoots me, right? Am I within striking distance, right? Like a man is more likely to evaluate his options a lot quicker. Women have fish. What?
Hurry up, Tony.
Okay, so women do have faster reflexes, though, but because a woman's default is usually flight.
Well, fawning is actually, it's not just between fight and flight, it's the fawn and freeze responses as well. And fawning is the more associated with the feminine response. It's like basically to appease the attacker, which is an effective intelligence strategy and it's often very, effective. But, it's just interesting, people want to say fight or flight as if, there's only two ways of responding. But they forget about the fawning and the freezing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Can you saying clothes is what makes a man feminine and how he acts?
Correct.
Yeah, do you think that's what makes someone feminine?
Their clothing? I mean, I think there's a lot of characteristics that make men feminine. And I wouldn't necessarily, I guess sometimes you could look at a man and know that they have a feminine nature if they're wearing certain clothes. Sure.
It's mainly their demeanor.
It's the demeanor, but it's also like
feminine or masculine can be based on the time period because high heels were actually invented.
If a guy starts talking to you
a lot
about
of straight guys that are super feminine. That
right.
Wait, hold on. Let Bentley. I just want to hear what he's talking about high heels. Go ahead.
Sometimes men who we see as feminine today might have been masculine 300 years ago. It can based on the time period.
Okay, I'm sorry, you guys. I was up there. You can tap here. It's easier. I know. Sorry about that.
Look,
Try to just stick to this time period, please, and not go back.
No. Christy, hold on one second. Listen, I understand that you're saying back in the day, men that used to wear high heels and whatnot, but I need you to remember, when you see articles like this, okay, you have to put it in context. Why did these men wear these high heels? It was mainly a masculine issue that they had. They wanted to appear taller than the other men. It wasn't because it was fashionable. It wasn't because it made noise. It's not because it made their hips sway when they walked.
You're talking about the masculine. Hold on, no. You're talking about the lawmakers.
That's a cool point.
You're talking about the upper echelons of society. That's what you're talking about. You're not talking about men who live every day.
Just look at Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis, okay, he's one of the governors of Florida. He has been noticed to wear shoes that are elevated. They have like a platform shoe. And it's because he's so damn short. He's got that small dog syndrome. He wants to appear bigger. He wants to appear taller.
Yeah. Are you saying because appearing taller will make you look more masculine?
Probably.
Yeah. Men are known.
It's their insecurities.
It's insecurity, but it's also natural selection. It is also natural selection. Throughout the ages, men have noticed that women want they want men that are taller, that are stronger. It's survival of the fittest. And so when a man, bless his heart, is 5'2", okay, he's going to be limited in his options. And this is not to say that he's not as strong. Or
it's almost like saying taller girls are less feminine. You know what I mean?
Exactly. This is what men. Now I'm a very tall woman. I'm 5'9.5". My husband is but when I tell you this man's shoulders are broad, this man's muscles, if he wanted to throw me over his back, he could. And this is what women want. They want to be that damsel. They want to come home and be rescued.
Because if not, who's going to be that for us? We don't want.
You can do that and be feminine at the same time.
Okay, we understand that a man can be feminine, but he can be masculine. We're not saying that when a man is a man that he can't be in his nature of his own feelings. Like that's not what we're saying. You can be in touch with that feminine side of your masculinity. Like what Tony was saying is guys have that. They have that. And when a man is a man, they're in tune with that. And that's what makes us females want to be women, is when they're in tune with that and they help us with our feelings and they're able to control and understand everything. I mean, that's why a guy in the Bible is the role of everything, is because he's supposed to understand feelings like that. And that's where I think society today and guys today are wanting to go. You know, I'm not speaking for guys. I'm not speaking for all men, but I think, from my opinions, I've seen that younger boys will try to be or want to be gay because of the role and the way that they are treated as women. I mean, us women are treated as little creatures, like precious creatures, and sometimes men these days want to be treated like that, and I think that's where
either that or they can't measure up to the masculinities
or your past or anything, and it's an emotional trauma that we as a culture have to be there for our men and help them grow out of those things that happened, because we don't know everybody's lives, and that I think is the part that everybody doesn't recognize is there is something that could happen to
I think
people.
the reason why people, men and women alike, don't respect feminine men is because we have to ultimately define what femininity is, right? If we're going to understand why feminine men don't get respect.
And that's the only reason why.
Hang on, T. Let Manuel get up. Let Manuel.
I'm sorry, Bentley, with all due respect, I don't think it's the job of the man to lead in what femininity means. I don't think it's the role of the man. Listen, men have their roles, women have their roles. Now, this isn't to say, like I've said before, that masculine men don't cook. This isn't to say that masculine men are not caring or loving. They are still caring and loving. You know what I mean?
Best chefs in the world are actually.
Yeah, the same way that a woman that is highly feminine is also very strong in her perseverance, in her patience. Okay, it goes both ways.
For sure. There's a strength in femininity. But
Exactly.
I just want to explain. I want to explain why.
No, I need you to understand something.
Okay.
When a man is ultra feminine, when a man is ultra feminine, okay, and he is with a woman that is ultra masculine, you have to remember that this is not only a discredit to women in society, but it is exhausting to the woman. I can mow my own
100% agree.
I can work and make 6-7 figures. I can run businesses. I can do all of that. But the second I decide to sit back and have a family, will my man also be able to take over what I was doing while I'm raising my children and breastfeeding?
I agree, Queen.
I mean,
I think it's healthy and important for us to understand what femininity is, for us to understand why feminine men are not respected in society. And it's because femininity, we have to understand it as the embrace of vulnerability and like itself, right? And women have a relationship with vulnerability because their relationship to men is going to be the vulnerable one, right? Females are vulnerable to males, just like based on biology, right? So women have this relationship with vulnerability based on the fact that they're women, right? And so when a man tries to become feminine and embrace some sort of vulnerability, like there's no reason for a man to embrace any vulnerability.
And men can be more vulnerable, but they just don't speak about it.
Just let me explain. That's why people don't respect feminine men, because they're embracing a vulnerability unnecessarily, right? It's an unnecessary embrace of vulnerability. Like the guy in the picture, he's wearing his nails, he's got all this stuff, he's acting a certain type of way, and he's acting in a way vulnerable. He's taking on a vulnerability that he doesn't have. It's like a pretend vulnerability, right? Whereas masculinity is the opposite, is trying to like erase vulnerability. Like, of course, we're all mortal people. We all have vulnerabilities. We all, none of us are, just totally impervious and not vulnerable.
I think that's a little bit
absolute. But the masculine response is to erase the vulnerability as much as possible, right? And to like take responsibility as much as possible, right? So it's like that's where this dichotomy comes into play. That's why feminine men don't get respect, even as much as I would say masculine women gain more respect, because at least masculine women, like, they're trying to erase the vulnerability, and like they're doing what they can to erase the vulnerability, and it's admirable, even though there's nothing that they really can do to erase that vulnerability. Like,
it's actually diversity that makes the world strong and have a good balance.
For sure.
Even if a man is feminine, because then the masculine women will balance it out, so it won't.
Well, I'm explaining though that the feminine man doesn't get respect from men or women because it's an unnecessary embrace of vulnerability, right?
And I know that because
there's no need for that man to like embrace a vulnerability that he doesn't have, right? He should be acting right. We all
That's basically saying men don't have emotions.
I've never heard masculinity described this way.
Oh God, it's not to say. Okay, I'm trying to hear this whole.
I was describing femininity, but masculinity is simply the embrace of responsibility, right? And so, in that embrace of responsibility, you are erasing vulnerability as much as you can, right?
I don't know about this.
Have responsibility and be feminine.
Okay, so this isn't to say that men don't have emotions or that we don't feel anything. It's just that men have to learn very early on, right? Because men have to learn to be leaders, and so we have to also understand a lot of things growing up as young boys, right? Young boys are always physical. This is where the saying comes: boys will be boys. We're always testing our strength. We're always pushing our limits. Why are boys naturally this aggressive? Because men were meant to conquer the world, meaning nature itself, right? You couldn't have the home that is built, that you live in, unless men conquered nature. You couldn't have that unless men took the time to rip away all the ground that was there, to lay down the foundations, to take the time to assemble all the beams, and then eventually make your house, right? Men were meant to conquer the world, and you cannot conquer. This may come as a shocker, but the world does not cooperate. Nature is indiscriminate of danger, right? The world is danger, and men were meant to conquer and deal with a dangerous world. That's the reason we are the way that we are, and this is why the security and the safety of any nation, I don't care how powerful it is, it's contingent upon the level of masculinity. Russia and China right now are having masculine programs in their schools while we're here trying to say that a man can be a woman.
I think it is important for men, or women really, to be able to deploy masculine and feminine traits. Earlier, someone brought up father-daughter nail time or like tea time very briefly, and that really struck me because these things are like instrumental to that relationship. And even in the dating world, we know this. Any man who's single, who's ever taken his kid to the park, knows this and will confirm this. And even not single fathers, stuff like music, art, style are going to be super important if you're actually out there dating right now. So when you say like women don't want this, I disagree, because I think when you look at the actual dating market, men and women both firmly understand that you need to be able to deploy these traits.
Being fed, you gotta look at that as well. Women are being fed this kind of belief in something that they should go out and do what a man does. That means opening their legs, getting pounded by a bunch of strange dudes, and that somehow this is empowering. Women are jacked up right now too. It's not just men. That's what I'm trying to say to you. So
I didn't say anything about anyone being jacked up. What I said was that anyone who's dating right now knows that you need to be able to deploy some masculine and some, or not even dating, in a relationship too, long-term relationship. You need to be able to deploy masculine and feminine traits.
He's trying to imply that men should employ kind of like a feminine fashion.
I have a question.
Yeah, and while some
not just fashion.
While some women, and you can see them in the comments, are like, oh, I want my feminine man, right, type of thing. They're trying to hype up these feminine men, right? In some sort of fashion sense, and you were trying to say, oh, well, is it attractive for men to be feminine, right? And I think in some sense, women see a feminine man, and they might see like, oh, someone who is less threatening, like, like they don't feel as threatened by the feminine man who's going to paint their nails with them.
My point.
But no, I think that is the point. I think that's a lot of the reason why.
No, the point is, so my original example.
Women will pretend. Just let me finish. Women will pretend that they're attracted to a feminine man because they feel like less threatened by him in some sense. But in the sense, he is more threatening to them because he's masking he's trying to mask the fact that he's male, and he's also a narcissist in some sense. Like women do not want a more narcissistic man who is more focused on himself and how he looks and how she is.
All right. Can I give you the example?
Straight to business.
So the example.
That's what's going to attract a woman.
The very first example that I brought up was father-daughter nail time or tea time. These aren't things that are like, oh wow, he's not dating. Hold on.
Use that as your argument. You can't.
I just did. Hold on. Let me just respond to what he was saying first. God. All right. That is not something that's like, oh wow, he's not dangerous. That's going to be, like I said, instrumental to the relationship between the father and daughter. That's going to make the mom feel good that because she's spending time with the daughter. Like this is a really important thing that men need to be able to deploy if they want a successful relationship.
Okay, so let me respond.
Let me wants a strong dad, not a dad that's going to wear wig with her, right? It's
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Are you serious? Are you sure about that?
Yes.
You've never heard of father-daughter like tea time or like dress-up time? Never heard of that.
Manimal,
one at a time. Go ahead.
Manimal, please, 1 second, brother. Listen, I want to make it very, very clear. I'm a mother, and I only have girls. Okay. And sure. I come from a culture where we have a matriarchal society. And to this day, we still have a matriarchal society. But for you to conflate my father having father and daughter tea time, okay, or imitating society in adult roles with my father painting my nails or putting makeup on me are two different things. Because my father teaching me how to put makeup on me when I'm 4 or 5 years old, number one, shouldn't even be allowed in society. You are sexualizing a child.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're not talking about your father. We're talking about men.
I'm talking about men in general.
So don't bring up your father. That's not relevant.
You should not be putting makeup on a child. This is number one. Makeup does not belong.
Karina's not loading. Karina, you're not loading.
If you're going to imitate roles for your children to learn, and you're going to teach your daughters, hey, when a man comes and takes you out on a date, he wears a certain attire. He comes and knocks on the door. He brings you
flowers. Treat you with a level of respect.
You would rather have a man teach his daughter how to go on a date for the first time than do a little bit of makeup? Are you joking me?
What is wrong? What is wrong with a father?
That's insane. I want you to acknowledge that's insane.
Listen, if you don't let me finish my statement, then you're not going to understand.
You're right. I'm sorry.
If a man is not the ultimate role model of what a girl is looking for when she is looking for a future mate, then what is he there for other than the financial protection and the security that he offers to the family?
Oh, because he's a child and he loves her? What?
Right? And through that love,
this is my daughter. I'm just raising her to be bred out? That's crazy.
He's modeling.
Hold on. Azza, can you just let Queen finish her sentence and then you'll have the whole floor to respond?
I'm sorry.
You're good.
Through that love, as a parent,
we are supposed to lead our children in terms of what is acceptable within the society and what is acceptable for partners. Your father, as a child, and this is proven throughout psychological experiments that they've done, as a girl growing up, your first role model of what a husband is supposed to be and what your father is supposed to be is your father. And when you have a traumatic experience with your father, you are more likely to grow up and imitate that and seek a man that behaves in the same way. And this is what they mean when they say generational curses. We are not learning from our mistakes. But if you have a father that is gentle and he is also leading the pack and he is also imitating what it means to be a strong leader, you as a child are more likely to see that in other men that have been raised right and want that for your own children.
And listen, I'm not saying that you can't raise your family however you want. You have full autonomy to do that. But I don't see the through line of trauma to doing nails with your daughter. I want you to connect those two things. Can you connect those two things?
If you knew anything about the over-sexualization of children, you would understand.
Let Queen finish, and then we're going to move up to the top two. Go ahead, Queen.
If you knew anything about the over-sexualization of children, then you would understand why it is 100% vehemently wrong to put makeup and cosmetic products and things like that on children.
I think this is why I say I don't know if you guys are operating in the real world. In the real world, if someone came up to me while I was, just playing with my daughter, maybe we were playing dress up, and someone came up to me and was like, "You are sexualizing your daughter," that man would not leave that situation. Are you crazy?
Yeah, I totally agree. Wearing a Disney princess dress, princess dress is not the same.
A Disney princess dress specifically.
It's not the same as dressing your child up in Gucci shorts and putting lipstick on.
Whoa! So now you're putting words in my mouth because I've never said anything close to those things.
We agree with that, Danik. The over-sexualizing thing, this has gone really ballistic in 2023. The world's has gone crazy. We all know that. Now, a father being a man in the relationship and in the family as a dad, if he sits down, like as Nick was saying, and having tea time with her daughter, there's nothing wrong with that. And what if my daughter, when she was little, we went to my uncle's and then she wanted to put some makeup and started putting some makeup on my uncle. She's not a woman for doing that. It doesn't make any sense. As well as if it's time for dress up. And moms, what about if it's the mom working and the father's working, and then the dad happens to be home that day because he was sick, and then he's playing with his daughter, and then let's do some dress up and all that. And the dad's going to go into her little world of dress up and having tea time. There's nothing wrong with it.
It's so ubiquitous.
No one's saying anything's wrong.
It's like part of American culture.
Hold on, look, you guys. We're trying to make an argument when they're releasing one right here, okay?
But it doesn't make it.
People are pro dad spending time with their daughters. But here's the thing: how is the father spending the time with the daughter? When this is what Queen was trying to get at, is that the father is modeling the type of respect that she is going to basically expect from men in her life, right? So it's if a man, hold on, wait, just finish. If the man is treating her less than her father, then she's gonna know, okay, this man isn't good enough, right? The father is kind of the initial foundational, model, right? So when he is having tea with his daughter, he's acting like the perfect gentleman, right? In that tea time situation.
Gentleman, right? Perfect gentleman.
Of course.
Yes,
of course.
That's the father. You know what I'm saying? And he's he's not gonna start painting.
Could be, or he could be playing Miss Butterworth. To be fair.
Oh, right, but then think about it. If he starts acting like a woman and acting like a little princess with her, right? Okay, then think about it. Oh,
that's wrong.
Wait, think about it.
Sounds adorable.
Pause. Just listen. The father is not going to be acting like the princess whenever he's playing with his daughter or whatever, spending time with her, right? If she's going to be a princess, the daughter is the princess. He's the king in that situation. See what I'm saying? Right? He remains the king.
Yeah, but what if the little girl wants to
you're describing. Sorry.
Yeah, but what if
honestly, who cares?
That's what I'm saying.
Because this is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about. The daughter needs her dad to actually play the king in that role, in every role, and not model.
Some people are having difficulty getting. Some people are having difficulty getting into this.
Yeah, hold on, everybody.
Some people are having difficulty.
Let me just make a point. It's really simple. Okay, the father should not be modeling himself as the princess, right? That's
why not?
Why not? Wait, let me explain, guys.
I know. I understand why.
Let Manuel get his last sentence out. Everybody has ADHD or some other diagnosis in here that they can't let people just finish their two sentences.
Facts.
And I'm happy.
We'll push it up. Go ahead, Manuel.
I'm happy that she asked why. Why shouldn't the father be role-playing as the princess, okay? Because look, the princess archetype, we have to look at what the princess is. The princess is the archetype that doesn't have to grow up, okay? Doesn't have to have any responsibilities at all, okay? And so when adult men, and I'm talking about drag queens as well, when adult men are basically putting on this princess archetype, it signifies to children that, oh, they don't necessarily need to grow up either. Puberty is optional. There's all this whole type of idea that, you know, is really strong right now with the gender ideology, right? And the whole princess archetype, and when parents are overindulging their children, boys or girls, in the princess archetype, it gives them the message that, you know, they can get through life without taking on responsibilities, and people should be doting on to them, right? When the father should not take on that
May I just say
because
something?
it's not healthy for adults to adopt.
I'd like to respond from somebody who comes from a matriarchal society. In my culture, if you have when I said I come from a matriarchal society, you were happy with that. You were okay with that. But then you turn around and you say that the princess mentality is not good for society because it means that she doesn't have any responsibility. Let me explain to you what a matriarchal society is at its natural core, okay? Matriarchal society means that it is the woman that rules the roost. It is the woman that makes the biggest financial decisions. It is the woman that makes the biggest educational decisions that have to do with the family as a whole or with the town as a whole.
It's literally make believe.
The man's role in our matriarchal society is to provide finances, is to provide security. And the woman not only makes the financial decisions, but she also feeds her man that provides that.
Everything you say about child rearing and upbringing seems like it's made to like this very rigid like factor. You will be this, you shall be this. When I'm playing with my, when I'm like playing with my child,
and I think
none of this shit matters at all.
I think it's a comprehension issue.
Like I don't think every single I don't think every single tea party is or every single like whatever is going to influence my child to become like this like layabout person who doesn't do anything. That's ridiculous. Or do you have any data that backs that up at all?
I don't know. And I think it's a comprehension issue. I think it's a comprehension issue that we're having here. Okay, because I'm saying to you that if a man plays with his children in general, that does not mean that he's lacking masculinity. It does not mean.
Oh, so we agree. Awesome. Okay, no, I didn't know that.
What I'm saying is that there are limits. What I'm saying is there are limits to what he can do to make sure that he still pushes the narrative that a man is a man and a woman is a woman.
So you never disagreed with me in the first place, because my original point was that it is important.
There is a limit. You are not understanding. It's not that I didn't disagree. I am saying there is a boundary that we need to be careful not to cross.
Right. So then,
I would disagree with that.
Shouldn't be wearing a princess dress if they're playing together. He should be like the king or something. Which when this child is 4 years old, is not thinking about all the masculinity and all.
And if you're the type of person, with all due respect, but if you are the type of person that doesn't understand how conditioning works at a very young age,
it's also
really lost.
Can I speak on conditioning for 1 second? Can I speak on conditioning for 1 sec? Yeah, can I speak on conditioning specifically? Well, something you just brought up.
Go ahead.
Yeah, something you just brought up, really interesting. I think a lot of the times, it seems like both of you are trying to like what's the word? I don't want to say manipulate, but like underlyingly like convince your kids to be a certain way. In my experience with children, especially, I would always just rather talk to them and tell them what I think. If my child has a question about dating, what type of man she should be with, just come and ask me. I'm always going to be an open book for you, and I'll always give you the type of man I think you should be with.
And that's fine, but you lead by example.
My stance on that will be clear. I don't need the fairy parties to decide that.
We're not trying to psychologically like condition them into any type of way. Besides, like, if anything, I'm trying to get them to recognize that they're going to become an adult, right?
Yeah.
Children are going to become adults, right? They're going to have to contend with puberty, okay, and then become adults, right?
Yes.
And in that, when they become adults, they're even going to like have adult type of relationships, right? So they're going to be in some sort of reproductive strategy, right? So, like, in that process, right, there are basic things that they got to understand. The women are vulnerable to men, and the men need to play a certain type of role. Like, only the women can get pregnant, right? And the men need to play a certain type of role if they're going to be part of, like, you know.
I think that's very archaic.
Obviously, because I'm a liberal,
right?
Very archaic way of thinking.
Hold on, Tony, let me accept the
responsibility for their children, right?
Tony, let me.
I would really love to speak to a woman that is married to a feminine man.
Oh, let me see if we have one of those.
Because it seems like we only have single women that are preaching this feminine nature that men should have.
I mean, I'm in a pretty traditional like relationship, if that matters.
Are there any women in the comments that are married to feminine men?
To a little bitch. I mean, excuse me, feminine man.
You're gonna get the boot. You have to be careful. Any women in the comments that are married to a feminine man, can you guys just say here and then request?
It's funny because these same women that say that they love feminine men, I'd like to ask what options they even had available to them.
Alexa.
The women that claim to want a feminine man, like, are doing it, I think, because they feel like the feminine man is less threatening. Like, maybe that's a trauma response in some sense. The feminine man is less of a threat.
She said she's married to a feminine man.
Okay.
Yeah, so sorry. So I have been married to a lovely human being for about, a year and a half now. We got married back in March of 2022. I am very happy with him because he's just a sweetheart in general. For reference, he wasn't here the entire time we were married. We got married in March, but he was continuing his service in the Marine Corps and had some deployments to do before he could come home.
Can I ask real quick, what do you think that makes him feminine? How are you calling him feminine?
I believe he's got feminine traits. I don't believe he's fully feminine. And the reason
Can you give us 3 traits that you would consider that he has that are feminine, so we could just kind of like analyze it that way?
Yeah, because so far you started that he's in the military, and that seems like not really feminine.
No,
right off the bat.
being in the military, I wouldn't say being in the military is feminine or masculine. I just believe you're serving your country.
I would say it's masculine based on the fact that it's, protecting and, taking responsibility. It is like when you think of masculine qualities, they do think of the ideal father or the ideal soldier. So,
right. And it does deal with violence, so I would say that tends to be more masculine.
All right, so let's have Alex give us 3 of the qualities that you would think that would constitute your husband being feminine.
So he's becoming very vulnerable, and what I see that as is I see it as things where he talks to me about how he feels, things that have happened to him in his past. He will go through things with me at great length and try to work it out, and that seems to be more of a feminine leaning trait in how our society works with people.
I don't know if that's feminine either, because if he's talking out his stuff, then that is also taking responsibility. I'm thinking is there anything about his fashion that is
I don't want people to confuse mental stability with femininity.
Okay, but do you guys realize the fact that this whole entire debate has been trying to determine what is masculine and feminine?
That's why we're asking her what 3 traits.
That's why I'm asking for the 3 traits. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything about his fashion?
Vulnerability. I just want to say one thing, Manuel. Vulnerability, I think, would not really constitute that much as super feminine, especially if he's in the Marine Corps or he's serving. Maybe he just needs an outlet to kind of explain how he's feeling with certain situations. He could have PTSD or some other emotional damage, or just something emotional that he's been going through. So I think that he's confiding in you because he trusts you. So I wouldn't necessarily, even though he's in the Army or Marines, I still wouldn't constitute that. But keep going.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily classify the sharing of emotions as feminine. I feel it leans a little more into the vulnerability of the feminine sides, but that's
what else
separate. He is fine with wearing, if he doesn't do this on a daily basis, but he's fine with wearing a skirt or a dress. He doesn't care, because if he feels like he wants to wear it, he's going to wear it. He doesn't care if it's specifically.
Are you saying, okay, you're making a really rash statement. Are you saying that he doesn't care and he'll do it if he had to do it? Or you're saying that this is something that he actually does on a daily or a weekly or monthly basis? Does he go out and buy skirts to wear?
In public.
No, not actively. He has worn them here at home, but he will not. So far, he's kind of exploring that side. He's not necessarily going out and doing this every single day.
So in the home, he's wearing skirts in the home?
Yes, he has before here at home.
So he's
Is it kind of like a fetish thing?
This sounds like autogynephilia. Do you know what autogynephilia is?
I do not.
Autogynephilia, you can look it up. It's essentially when a man is either aroused or excited at the thought of wearing feminine clothing, being perceived a little bit to some extent as a woman, or being portrayed in women's clothing, things like that. They get turned on or aroused by it.
Is that a possibility for him?
Definitely not. It's not a sexual thing by any means. It's far out. He
doesn't get excited by it?
No.
You guys, respectfully, why are you guys trying to turn this into something more of a sexual perspective?
No, we're just trying.
Well, I said aroused or excited. I think you're just harping on the sexual aspect, and that says more about you than us.
Listen, I understand from your perspective from why it could be taken into that kind of account, but I feel like you guys are overlooking a very simplistic answer to something that could be more deep rooted.
Right, so that's why we're asking her.
I understand. I would like to respect each other in this debate or talk. I just want to talk about this because this is a very important topic that is deep rooted also in psychology and sociology. What I was going to say in response, that this is a lot more entangled than just for example, about the thing that you just said, Tony, that's a lot more minimal in society than something like overall. And also I wanted to.
What does that mean?
If you don't mind, if you don't mind.
I feel like you're just saying words it's just more than society.
Hold on one second. I'm still trying to get.
Hold on one second. I want to finish with Alex because we're in the middle of. I just want her to give me the 3 feminine characteristics. So she says that her husband dresses sometimes at home feminine, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then give me 2 more.
So he does paint his nails, and this is a daily occurrence. He paints them black. That is the only color he will paint his nails. He is a very gothic in style man. We both are in the household.
Okay.
He follows the aesthetic. He does wear eyeliner on the occasion. Sometimes he'll put on black lipstick. Now, I don't mind those things because I do the same thing. Like, we have the same exact style. He matches with the household. He does wear makeup occasionally. Sometimes he'll do it in public. Sometimes he won't.
Right. So is that feminine, or is that because he subscribes to the gothic scene? Because
It still sounds like autogynephilia to me.
Yeah, in my culture, no, not necessarily, because in my culture, the men wear eyeliner. This is very common, very normal. It's part of our tradition. If we don't consider it to be feminine, it's actually just part of the culture. It's our scene, if you want to say. Now, if he subscribes to the gothic scene, and you mentioned specifically the colors black, all that means is that's a representation of which part of society he feels more comfortable with. That's not necessarily feminine.
I want to ask too as well, like, is there anything beyond fashion that you would think qualifies him as feminine? I guess you're saying earlier that I guess like he's being more expressive with his emotions, but if he's processing his emotions and just getting through them, then that's not necessarily feminine. Is there something about his behavior that is like unnecessarily like, you know, vulnerable? Like, you know what I'm saying? Is he kind of like
does he have like a protective nature? Is he like a protector in the home? Do you feel safe with him? Is he a leader? Does he make like good, strong decisions for you and your family? Is there anything else that we could like pinpoint or like negate from this conversation?
Well, in our home, we both see ourselves kind of as one and the same.
Wait, Alex. People are saying, are you a male?
So I am a trans man. I have been in transition for over 2 years.
Now it makes sense.
Okay, I know. I that's fine. I'm just was curious because they keep saying it over and over in the comments, and I was like, okay. I honestly thought you were a female. And then I don't mean that disrespectfully.
A trans man is a female. A trans man is a female.
I'm saying like with a female, like as like a whatever. My fault.
Yeah.
I thought she was coming. Sorry, I thought he was coming up here as like a heterosexual couple. Is that better? Okay.
Well, but is your partner your partner is male though, right, Alex?
Correct. Biological male.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so then, this sounds, I feel confident then now in what I was saying about autogynephilia. This sounds like this, guys, because also we noticed a couple of things when it comes to autogynephilia. Generally, people who start to exhibit this kind of behavior, generally they either have they're on the autism spectrum to some extent or degree, and that causes people to hyper focus on things that they attach to. So that's a possibility as well. I don't know your husband or whatever it's not, so I can't tell you, but I would just say that this sounds more like that, or this could probably definitely potentially just go into some mental diagnosis of gender dysphoria if you guys are going that far, it sounds like. But I don't know, that's what it sounds like to me.
Hold on, can Trenton, can you unmute and jump in here?
Well, it does kind of pose the question because like where is he getting the clothes? Where is he getting the women's clothes? Because if you're a trans man, are you dressing feminine? Is he getting the clothes from you, or is he purchasing the clothes himself? Like I myself, like, you know, have been married for 20 years, and I've never had the inclination to, you know, wear my wife's clothing at home or anywhere else, really. So it does seem like an odd thing, especially if you don't have the women's clothes and he's getting them himself. Then that seems like maybe, you know, especially because you're a trans man, maybe he wants to become a trans woman and just feel.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a little bit of a unique situation.
It's very popular nowadays to freaking just be as completely out of whack or not in sync with your nature. Like it seems to be the way that people are going, right? Everybody's like views demonizing the nuclear family traditionality and this and that. So I think there is some rebellious and social element to this. I think on top of that we have very high generations that are on the autism spectrum. So I think it can be a number of different things that's causing this, but it doesn't sound like a normal, healthy individual growing up without these things influencing them.
If you don't mind, guys, can I just make it very clear? What we're saying is not to discredit the individuals that are going through the whole gender thing when it's a deep-rooted issue that's been exhibited for a very, very long time. We're simply identifying a distinction between those that are recently going through it, and it started off more as a fetish, and those that have an actual medical diagnosis of gender dysphoria. They're two different things.
I also don't want to make this live about like the T community. I don't even want to hear about it today. I'm just kind of focusing on the other issues. Just another day, time and place for that.
We don't want to be, personally like diagnosing anyone's relationship or anything like that.
I was going to say that too, that we're kind of getting off topic about like the concept of femininity and masculinity. Like for example, like I'm a trans man too, but this is a very, very quick side note. Trans people have existed forever, but that's a completely different topic.
I know, we know that.
I know. That's why I'm saying it's a completely different topic.
Intersex people have.
I can't listen. Okay, First, okay, before I start anything,
stand on it.
let me speak. You guys have been speaking this whole time. Let me speak as someone who was opposed to this topic too. Okay, first of all, I wanted to correct you earlier, Tony, that the flight and fight, this has been bothering me for a bit. The flight or fight response does not come from the prefrontal cortex. It comes from the amygdala. From the.
I didn't say where it came from.
No, but you very heavily.
So why are you saying? Why are you correcting me if I didn't say that's where it came
information
from?
that you're relating to psychology and sociology are not at all parallel to what you've been talking about this whole time.
So you came up here to correct me for something I didn't say because you took what I said the way that you wanted to say it instead of the way that I actually said it.
Now
and you're coming up here to correct me for this thing that I never said.
Because that relates to what we're going to be talking about right now, which is psychology and
Yes, so you need to
sociology.
correct me for something I didn't say.
Because that is
because I didn't say.
I do not want to talk about T people today. Please and thank you. I do not want to talk about T people today. Please and thank you. Can we please not do that today? I am tired of talking about T people. Can we just talk about men? Can we just talk about women? Can we just not make this a debate about T people? You're valid. You're here. We know it. But I don't want to talk about y'all today. There'll be another day, another time, another place. Also, I had 2,200 people in here, and now I was down to 360 as soon as we got on the tea topic. Can we not speak about it today? I'm tired of it. I don't want to talk about it. Y'all are valid. Y'all are here. We got y'all. I'll do a debate another day. We'll have a great conversation. I'm going to just talk for 2 seconds and get my viewers back up because y'all ruined it. Y'all ruined it for me because it's not always about y'all. And again, you're valid and you're here and we know it. We appreciate it. I don't want to talk about gender. I'm literally getting called uneducated because I don't want to talk about gender today. Yes, I'll make the live about me today. Let's focus on me. The live is only about me today, not this topic. Okay? We're not talking about T and gender. We're talking about feminine males. That's all. Okay? That's all I want y'all to do. Let's talk about this. We'll do a debate tomorrow about the T community. And then everybody can come back up and we can have a fist fight if you guys want. But today is not the day. It's Sunday. It's an easy day. Let's keep it easy, okay? Not to me snoozing emotion. Look what they're doing to me.
I know. Yeah, it's basically because the fucking soft ass male feminist bullshit.
Tony, you're way too aggressive, dude.
Dude, fucking jeez, you guys are the fucking problem.
All right, hold on. Let Crystal jump in.
Okay, let me just get up here in this panel and show my emotions so maybe I can get some bitches. You guys are the male feminists that are deceptive. You're the type of dudes that freaking will date a chick, pretend to have a sensitive side, and you'll be the toxic one most of all that will underhandedly and do some shit like that. Aggressive masculine men may appear as the bad guys or whatever, but that's just because we're overt about who we are. We're not unabashed, but we're unabashed about who we are. So that's a difference. You guys hide who the fuck you are, and we are who we are, and that's just it.
Tony, shut the hell up.
Damn, Tony.
I'm tired of these little sensitive. And I'm speaking a soft voice.
Tony.
Fucking fucking go. Fucking change your Tampax, motherfucker.
So I wanted to.
Do I still have an echo?